Hi there, and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son sit down and talk about fantasy, specifically books right now. I'm the son in that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. We're glad to have you here with us today for our 28th episode, which means we've kind of said that same opening banter 28 times.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten too old for me yet, but I change it occasionally.
And honestly, I don't know if we've said the same banter every time because I'd have to go back and listen to 27 episodes to be sure. But hopefully, some of the people listening to this one have just binged 27 episodes.
Oh yeah, and
now
hear
they're going,
all the differences.
Yeah, this
or
is what you
messed
do
up
every
things.
time. Well, it is great to have our listeners with us, and it's great to have you with me. So we
thanks,
can do
Dad.
this. Yeah, I totally enjoy this.
That's a nice, heartfelt father-son moment there.
And he didn't pay me to say that at all.
Hey, you're not supposed to air out my dirty laundry. That's upstairs.
Not mine, though, because I've washed all the laundry
I
today.
did like half of mine.
Yeah, you did yours, and I'm good.
I'll get there.
It's nice that he's old enough. He's been doing his own for years now. Yay!
Oh, yeah. Anyways, how have you been this past week or so?
Oh, man, I've been crazy busy this week. I had a in-person conference for work that I was actually running Wednesday through Saturday. So that was, full days and lots of stuff and wearing face coverings and following all the guidance. Though just about everybody gathered for this was fully vaccinated. So that really brings the anxiety down, but you still have to follow the proper protocols.
Absolutely.
The hotel we did this at, we were the first gathering they've had since, a year ago March when everything shut down for the pandemic. They were really happy to see us.
I bet they took really good care of you.
They did indeed. But what was really cool? Besides the fact that the conference went well and it was great and people enjoyed being there, I found more fantasy fiction fans amongst these colleagues that were gathered.
Fantastic.
And in
It's
fact,
always good to reach out and connect.
yeah, I believe some of them will be listening to our podcast. Now, I watched one subscribe right there in front of me. So it's always great when you find, more people who know your hobbies, your passion, and can talk literature with you.
Absolutely.
And but that made it pretty busy for me this week, much more so than in past weeks. How about you, Zach?
Well, I got to see the other side of that. I really enjoyed seeing you excited to go to an in-person conference and then come home a few days later and really excited to feel your nice carpet on your feet again.
Oh, it was so good.
It was really funny from my side.
4 days
And
of
that
just
you were
dress shoes
so
and then
excited.
hotel floors.
You were so excited, and then you come home and you're so ready to be done in a good way.
But it's a funny thing. We had new carpeting put in over the course of the pandemic.
Oh, I know.
But I've been just living here the whole time. This was the first time I was away and long enough with no good, softness under my foot that I noticed.
But the other side of things was having to, not rely on you cooking amazing dinner, because you do that. And especially the last night, figuring out, oh, right, I have to take care of my own. That's a thing that adults do. I'll get used to that again. It's going to take a little while.
Yeah, because your mother was gone as well the last night. So
It's not a bad thing. It's totally good and fine. I can handle it. But it's something I'm not used to in this past year. I've kind of retrained myself to be used to you cooking very well.
yeah, you had to go back to a little more adulting.
Yeah. And I'll get back to that again soon.
Speaking of adulting, you're holding a beverage in your hand.
Oh, I am.
What are you drinking, Zach?
Just 2 fingers of bourbon. Nice and simple, but nice.
There you go.
Yours, however, looks a little more complicated.
And as usual, the recipe for what I'm drinking is on our Instagram. It's the Golden Quickie. It's in a martini glass, so not some...
Hey, Dad, we're not that kind of fantasy podcast.
I know. When I saw the title, I'm like, oh, this looks wrong. But it tastes so right.
Oh, no.
Okay, that went down the wrong avenue, too.
You didn't have to go
there. Anyways, it's a simple combination of bourbon, just like my son is drinking, but with golden rum and a little bit of triple sec. And just mixed up in a cocktail shaker, and there you go. Bam. It's very tasty, as usual. I recommend the beverage, if not perhaps the name, depending on the company you're with.
Now, as we dive into some content here today, this is a shorter episode, possibly, hopefully. Who knows? Correct?
Yeah, our prepared content, our notes of what we're going to cover, only covers one chapter. because of a combination of things, the biggest being this conference I was running did not leave me with the free time that I usually use for this passionate hobby we have, so I couldn't prep as much.
That being said, it's a good full chapter.
Oh, it is. It is. But it was also combined with our last episode, which was a great episode, but again, it took
lot.
all I could to get the editing done, to get it dropped out for our patrons, literally 12 hours before then it went out for everybody else.
You're usually really good about getting it out multiple days early.
Right. Not
This one was
time.
still early, just not days.
And we recorded last week a midweek special that I haven't even touched yet. And that's got to be ready for this coming Wednesday. So.
You'll get there.
So that means it's fine if this episode's a little shorter, because I've got still, then 2 short episodes to edit over the course of the week and prepare for the next one. So,
And if you're listening to this in a binge, just remember, it's less time to get to the next episode.
There you go. Unless we still talk for an hour plus on this one great chapter.
Oops.
All right, maybe we should get to it then.
Yes.
What do you say?
Chapter 19, Beneath the Dagger.
We pick up with Rand, Hurin, Loial, and the Lady Selene.
Now, which dagger or daggers do you think this is talking about?
Yeah, there are multiple.
I think it's both.
It's a great name, but they don't know entirely yet why.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Our group is, remember, no longer in the mirror world. They got out from there, and they had been waiting, camped where they can keep an eye on, where the Dark Friends, Pat and Fain's Dark Friends, should be coming along eventually, if the Lady Selene is right.
And Hurin remembers where he was smelling correctly.
So it's been days and days.
I don't think it says exactly how many.
It does
but
not.
We get the feeling it's been possibly up to almost a week.
All right, remember, in the mirror world, Rand and group had traveled a tremendous amount of distance very quickly. So Pat and Fain and his Trollocs and Dark Friends, they have to use, real world travel time to get that same distance. So, yeah, they end up waiting a while. And during this waiting, Rand is troubled. He keeps having thoughts of, maybe Selene's wrong. Maybe they're not going to show up. Maybe we should just get her home to Kyrian at some point here instead of waiting. And
he says to himself, just one more day. Tomorrow, that's when we leave. And he's been saying that pretty much every day, over and over.
And each time he's diverted by Selene. She's like, oh, no, we want to see the horn. I want to be able to touch the horn. Remember, you promised I'd be able to touch the horn.
Grabs his arm, looks in his eyes, bats her eyelashes, and...
She does the lady thing, and he caves again and again and again.
She seems very effective at that feminine wiles thing.
Yes. Well, when you are the most gorgeous woman anyone has ever seen, as the book has described her in Rand's opinion, it's probably pretty easy to get your way that way.
Truth be told, though, possibly little sus. Maybe just a little.
Well, this evening, when the book actually jumps back into it, it's nighttime. Hurin is out on watch, first watch for the evening. Loial is sleeping like Ogier sleep. He's sleeping like an Ogier. I don't know, is that like a log or is that more like a boulder?
He may be snoring, but it's snoring like a log, not like a lumberjack, because... he wouldn't be caught dead being a lumberjack.
Okay. Oh, yes. Gotta take care of them trees.
Definitely no chainsaw snores.
No. Oh, nice. I like that. Rand is, not particularly comfortable. I get the sense he does not sleep all that well anymore. He's got too many worries and troubles on his mind. And so he's tossing and turning a little bit. He rolls over.
Keep in mind, most of Rand's dreams usually go badly.
They certainly have. And as he rolls over, he sees Selene not sleeping. She seems to be going into his saddlebags.
Doesn't clearly look like she's been into them yet, but
maybe because he thinks he had him in a different position before. So she may have been, and this is where the term used before is appropriate again. This seems kind of sus.
Yeah, she's snooping.
He's teaching me the slang, peeps.
Selene, what you doing? What you doing?
And she jumps. Oh, you startled me.
Nobody gets startled if they're not doing something suspicious. If you're not doing something you're not supposed to do, why worry about getting caught?
It definitely is suspicious that she seemed to be jumpy. But she spins on a dime and says, this dress, I've been wearing it for so many days. I just feel like it needs at least a good brushing. So I had thought if I borrowed one of your shirts, I could change and take care of that.
Now, Rand doesn't see anything wrong with the dress. It looks spotless.
But that's a smooth line. Because, I mean, women like to be clean. And if he's like,
especially in this world and where Rand's experience
yeah, he's thinking of
is.
Gwaine. And if she had a spot on her dress of any sort, it would be driving her crazy. And she'd want it cleaned.
Notably, plenty of women that's not true about. But Rand, that's his perception. Mm-hmm. And so it's what he kind of goes with and goes, well, okay.
Well, and before he responds to her at all, it just does instantly set him at ease. Where he was suspicious, I was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Doesn't hurt that he probably wants to see her in one of his shirts.
No. The book's writing, from my perception, is that did not enter into it at all. He didn't want to see her in one of his shirts.
But there are over and over and over again in this chapter moments that look like horny Rand.
Yeah, but we're not there yet, though. Wow. Come on, keep your order, dude.
It kind of starts here already. It's already kind of here.
So let's look at how this goes. So, okay, I'll get you one of my shirts. So he gets a shirt out for her, and she immediately reaches behind to undo her buttons. He realizes she's going to take her dress off. And she even says, could you help me here with these buttons? And he whips around. He does not want to be seeing, because that would be totally inappropriate. And he says, I can't help you with those. That would be inappropriate. And she just starts chuckling. And as he has his back to her, he hears the clothing starting to come off. And so he starts up talking, because he doesn't want to even hear that sound that's making him feel very awkward. And yes, I'm sure he's picturing what she probably looks like right now, but he does not want to look. I mean, he's a guy. He wants to look, but he does not, because Rand is a good guy.
I mean, as he's talking, though, he does kind of go into it wouldn't be proper, it's not as if we were promised, and goes, don't think like that. You can't marry somebody. He's still got in his mind the whole channeling, gonna go crazy, gonna kill people thing. But he does clearly have on his mind other motives with Selene.
Nothing he intends to act on at all. But you can't control your mind.
His sense of duty, but also just being a good person and not wanting to, murder people he loves, is overpowering the she's beautiful thing.
So he had jumped back into the conversation they'd had previous days, saying, I think we probably should get you back to Kyrian tomorrow. We've waited long enough. And she's like, but Rand, the horn.
Think of the glory.
The glory, yes.
Over and over. You could be another Archer Hawkwing. Better.
But then she says, okay, you can turn back around now. And so he turns around, and then he finds her in just his shirt. Yes, and remember, she's very tall, so his shirt is only not even down to mid-thigh, and she's got long, graceful legs. And he notices how beautiful these almost glowingly beautiful legs are.
Glows in the moonlight.
And and if you've had that opportunity to see a beautiful woman only wearing a man's shirt down to the thighs, yeah, that's kind of hot. So that's what he's noticing. Big time. And so he immediately spins back around. I can't look at this. It's not appropriate. And I'm going to start going all googly eyes. And at that point, Hurin comes running back up to the group, calling, Lord Rand, and he's about to say something and then screech, because he just caught his lord with the woman, and this looks rather compromising. Oops.
Were you guys having a special moment? Were you guys talking?
And his eyes go straight to the ground. I'm not going to look. This is not appropriate. Now, Hurin's behavior does not strike me as, Lord Rand, what are you doing? But more, well, Lord Rand can be doing whatever he likes, and I've stumbled upon that, and I'm mortified at myself.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I read that.
He's embarrassed. He's not angry. He's embarrassed.
That's right. And Loial, well, he wakes up because Hurin's, come in with this big announcement, and he looks and he sees the two of them, and his eyes go wide. And now he's got big ogier eyes, so these are now
when
like...
they go wide. They go very wide.
Buffet plate wide now.
And I like to think that the edges of the eyebrows are just twitching.
Yeah. Rand is like... they both are thinking we were like doing something inappropriate.
Guys, nothing happened.
But he doesn't even talk about it. But Selene's reaction, that's telling. She just sighs like, foiled. Yeah, they interrupted us, and she's not embarrassed. She's like, I can't do what we were maybe gonna do now. That's interesting.
We were having a moment.
And she was crafting that moment.
Entirely.
Yeah, pretty clear. She was trying to make some moves, and that's not going to happen now. Rand, though, he gets down to business.
Yep.
He's saying, okay, Hurin, so what? What did you see? Because you were on watch. What's the deal? And what do we learn?
There's a small camp down maybe 2 or 3 miles away. Huron didn't see it at first, but he saw a campfire eventually, and he realizes he didn't see it because they kept it small. They were trying to keep it hidden. And Rand kind of puts two and two together and says, listen, it's not Ingtar. Ingtar wouldn't have any reason to hide the fact that he was having camp. It's got to be Fain and the Dark Friends. They would know they're being followed.
Yeah. Well, even more telling, Hurin points out that he did eventually see it because their small fire is banked so that it's hidden from pursuit from the
behind.
north. They're clearly afraid they're being followed, and that goes into.
I do want to point out, Hurin has really good eyes. I mean, yes, it's dark. Yes, there's a fire. He clearly doesn't need glasses or anything, because you would not from a mile, 2 miles, maybe even 3 miles. It says less than 3.
I kind of got the point.
See
if I inferred that properly, that Hurin had gone a little closer to see what he was seeing. Not all the way to be able to see what the camp is.
There's no way he went closer than a mile out.
Yeah, perhaps.
And that's still a pretty big distance to see that much detail. It's not insane, but me speaking as someone who wears glasses, unlike my dad, if I wasn't wearing these, I couldn't see it.
So, eagle eye and hound dog nosed Hurin.
He at the very least has 20/20 vision.
So Rand is confident. This is Fain. Fain and the gang. And
Fain's Dark Friends.
His decision is Fain's Furious Dark Friends.
Fain's Furious more than 5.
Okay.
50. Fain's Furious 50.
I like
work
it.
With that.
There you go. He's inclined, though, okay, we know where Fain is now. We'll keep an eye on them.
I
so
just realized why I'm being dumb. It's Fain's Furious Fist. Fist of Trollocs.
They're not all Trollocs, but
no,
sure.
But a group of Trollocs is called the Fist of Trollocs.
Now, I don't know why that reminded me of it, but did you see the new movie of Mortal Kombat is out?
Yes, and I was told in the Taco Bell drive-thru of all places that...
Oh, that's what you eat when I'm not home to cook dinner for you?
That was what I was craving. I went for it. I decided not to cook and got Taco Bell.
We should watch that tonight. Oh, you're playing D&D tonight, probably.
Tomorrow.
You're playing tomorrow?
No, I'm playing tonight, so we'll watch it tomorrow.
So I'll watch it tonight and tomorrow.
You really want to watch it twice? That's up to you.
I don't know. It might not be that good. You're right.
Point is, apparently, there's a whole lot of depth of story and stuff in the games. If you've ever played them, the whole tournament thing, you have to consent more or less, and there are appointed times of when you are allowed to be killed and not before then. Mm-hmm. And the movie seems to not care about that at all, perhaps. Okay. So if you're a fan of the game, you're probably gonna hate the movie.
So Furious Fist is what led me to think of Mortal Kombat. Yeah. All right, that was a tangent. We had a lot of those last episode. This is only the first real one this time. We'll see what happens.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So again, Rand's inclined to just keep an eye on them because Ingtar and group, they're coming, and this way when they catch up, we can, know exactly where we gotta go and what to do. And Selene's like, what?
Why would you wait for Ingtar to show up to charge in there?
You want Ingtar to have the horn? I mean, it's right here. Come on, Rand. Think
of the glory.
And so with her encouragement, actually, Rand says, all right, we'll at least sneak down and take a closer look and see, is there a way we can get the horn back?
I will say she raises some preposterous arguments, but also some valuable ones. I mean, she seems to suggest you go in just like you and Loial, and you take things and you win, you get the glory, it's great. But the argument that she brings up that is reasonable is you don't know. You don't know how many there are. You don't even know if that actually... But no, they don't know for sure that it actually is Fain and his Furious Fist. He doesn't know whether or not there are a lot of Trollocs, 3 Trollocs. There's no way of knowing a lot of these things. And at the very least, they could scout. And, if they find the horn of Valir while they're scouting, they could just take it.
So Rand decides, I mean, at first he wants to go by himself, and she's like, no, take the Alantin. So uses that term again.
Mm-hmm.
At least because Ogier can see excellent in the dark. And if you do find the ability to bring out the horn, you'll need his strength. There is wisdom in that. So he agrees, and he takes Loial. He leaves Hurin to protect Selene, so she's not left alone.
And as they go, he asks Loial, that thing she keeps calling you,
It's a Lantine? What is that?
Is it? And he's like, oh, it's the old tongue. It means brother. It's short for Tia Avenda Alantin.
Specifically, tree brother.
Brother to the trees.
Yeah, but it's a very formal phrase, and it's not used commonly anymore.
No, even if it were to be used nowadays, it wouldn't be used with the old tongue. People don't speak it. Most people don't know it.
And he says, well, she's Kyrianan, and they're a very formal people, at least the
Especially
nobles. Yeah. I mean, they're very nosy as well. But
when they're not noting things about particular individuals, they are being very formal and hiding their interactions.
I am nodding knowingly. So we're going to go forward now, and we've got Rand and Loial creeping close. They've gotten to where the camp is, and good thing Loial's got those Ogier eyes, because they can see out in front of them, and Rand can even see this, that there's mounds of people, and, people in Trollocs, and there's a chest. They can see that. But as he's about to walk in towards them, Loial's puts a hand over his mouth and holds him in place and points over to the side. And there's a guard, a Trolloc on guard.
Do you remember Shrek?
Yes.
There's a moment in Shrek where Fiona is talking and Shrek just puts his entire massive meaty hand over her face to stop it.
And that's what you see
at
this
moment. That's
moment.
exactly what I see here.
That
a
works.
massive meaty hand covering, yes, the mouth, but it's the face.
Yeah, that would have worked. I like it. Because, Rand would have just bungled right into this Trolloc, and the jig would be up. I almost said the gig would be up again.
No, it would be the gig here. His gig would be up. His job of checking things out. Anyways, I have a quick aside question.
Okay. Is this a tangent?
Maybe. It's about what's going on, but I don't think it's something that's ever explained. What do you suppose is good about Loial and other Ogier's eyes that lets them actually see? Is it the size of the eye? They're letting in more light with a larger pupil? Is it semi-reflective and structured differently like a cat's eye? Do they have more rods as opposed to cones? So, yeah, they see color, but they can see black and white a lot better. Thoughts?
Yes.
I'm trying to bring science into this, giving options.
All of those sound great. I have no sign or inclination that the cat theory has anything to do with it. It might simply be their eyes are that much larger.
The size is the most logical possibility from a scientific perspective.
But keep in mind,
if your pupil can get bigger, you can let more light in.
They're not
you can see in
human,
lower light.
so their eyes can simply work differently, be a little more attuned to other things.
But unless we're saying their eyes are purely straight magical, to me, maybe this is just how I read things, how I see the world, how I see fantasy. There needs to be a biological reason for it to exist. And cat's eyes are a great example. Cats have a biological reason as to why their eyes see better in the dark than humans. It doesn't have to be a human reason. It has to be biological.
Now, that is very much a mammalian-centric perspective, though, on vision, isn't it?
No.
Because aren't there other creatures that have
that is an
eyes
ocular
that perceive
specific
light in different ways?
No, this is an ocular specific reasoning. Because most creatures that perceive with their eyes still have a biological reasoning to what they're seeing. Even if they're literally seeing, say, infrared or something.
Do some not work differently? I don't know my science well enough to remember this.
Even if they work differently, they're still working based on their personal biology.
Sure.
There's not something beyond that. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the biological reasoning for Ogier having better eyesight? It's not a magical, they cast a spell and so their eyes see better.
I don't think so.
It's
Let's
something
just say
about
they're
their
bigger.
physiology.
Okay.
That was all I was getting to.
Gotcha. I'm not sure that tangent was all that interesting.
I like it, but, we're going to cut probably most of it.
I don't know. There might be some people who are on Team Zach out there who just say, yeah, come on, keep talking, dude. I like what you say.
I'm on team make things that are explainable through natural reasons or explain the unnatural.
Okay. as they are at this, as they've been getting to this point, okay, they're here now. They're with the Trollocs and the Dark Friends, and they're about to go in. Rand is feeling some strain because in order to really be able to approach calmly and coolly, he had sought the void, okay, which is his ultimate focus zone.
But
when you're in the void,
you can, or at least Rand can, we've seen he's much closer to Sidene.
Honestly, every time he grasps Sidene
And the
at
power
all
calls
intentionally,
out for him.
he's been in the void. Mm-hmm. It's just happened without him trying to get it. But when he has sought it,
sense it,
he was in the void. That's where he finds Sidene. So going to the void without wanting Sidene is hard.
It's like standing next to this powerful weapon that you could use to actually potentially destroy all the Trollocs, but choosing not to pick it up.
Yep. He's feeling the strain because he's like right there, but he can't take it. He just wants the benefits of the void. And Loial notices. He's like, Rand, are you okay? You can see the strain on him. Rand's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well,
it's like an alcoholic outside a bar not going in. I'm fine.
And yet, the way that you're voicing that, to me, can't be how Rand is saying it. His voice, it's mentions is like stretched. He's straining.
True, because he is in the void.
He's not frustrated.
He's in
not
the void, which is emotionless. Yes, you're right.
If anything, he sounds weird because he's responding completely flatly, without emotion. It's very, we're doing the job. But inside, there's this internal struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. They have gotten to where the camp is, as I said, and they avoided that one Trolloc that they almost stumbled over. But Trollocs are lazy, so he's the guard. He's been guarding. Now he's kind of tired guarding, so he sits down and, like, within seconds is snoring. He's out cold.
And now we do have a chainsaw.
Yeah. So they're like, all right, we're
no
here.
No wonder Ogier don't like Trollocs.
I guess. Chainsaw. Yes. So they see the shadow of the chest, and it's in a spot where actually nobody else is by the chest, just one person, like a guard. There's one person there. All the others seem to have given space around the chest. So, okay, we could maybe sneak it away from one guy.
Let's do it.
So they get down and they stealth crawl. And I'm like, how does Loial stealth crawl? But that's how it's described. Okay, so maybe he's light on his elbows and knees.
He's attuned to nature. He's good at this stuff.
I guess. When they get to the chest, they find the Shader Logoth dagger sitting on top of the chest, unsheathed.
Yep, it's just flat sitting there.
And we did learn earlier, and we talked about this in an earlier episode, that was what Pat and Fain would do with the chest each night. He just set the dagger unsheathed on top of it because he knew nobody would touch it.
Nobody would touch it.
Because they're all scared of that dagger.
That dagger is terrifying.
Deadly. Rand is looking at the dagger and he's like, okay, well, we need the chest because that's where the horn is. We also need this dagger.
But he also knows the dagger is dangerous.
Yeah,
He's seen what it does.
Tainted.
Done to Matt.
It can do things to people.
Matt held on to it for a little while before he really started to get affected.
That's right. It wasn't like instantaneous.
Yeah, maybe it's okay if he just, touches it a little.
Which is what he does. He picks it up and quickly puts it in his belt. Kind of, sticks it between himself and his belt. And he's fine. Okay, now he's not touching it anymore. It's just sitting there between his clothes and his belt.
I have a potential theory about this. It's
Yes.
not a crazy one.
All right.
Moraine said that Matt did way better than so many people. He was so good and had such strength of will and character, and that's why he was able to resist the dagger for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe that most individuals who just picked up the dagger, even for a moment, that's it. They're getting corrupted. Things are going bad. Things are happening.
Okay.
However, we hear time and time again, Two Rivers stock, very stubborn. And I think that stubborn goodness, that blood of Manetheren, even if it's not actually in you, is something that allows you to helpfully resist some.
All right. Fair theory. I can live with it. So he's got the belt. He's got the belt. He's got the dagger in his belt. And then he is able to motion to Loial. Here, pick this up. And they're not talking. He makes motions, literally. And
He's
Loial,
like,
he
it's
gets
too
it.
heavy for me.
Loial picks up the chest. It's a heavy chest. And off they go. They're not crawling anymore. Now they're creeping away.
Let's get out of here.
It's like, we made it in. Let's get out. And they have almost made it completely from sight of the camp when they hear the guy who was guarding the chest. Because he's jumped up And the first thing he yells is, "It's gone!" And Rand, even in the calmness and emotionless of the void, has an instant reaction of, "That's Pat and Fain." Now, it was interesting to me that the book highlighted that.
Yes.
That even in the calmness of the void, Rand instantly recognizes the voice as Pat and Fain. We'll come back to that in a moment. But Fain goes on to yell, "I know it's you, Althor! You're hiding from me, but I know you're out there! Find him!" Now, Zach, Fain has this ability, we know this, to sense where Rand is.
At least to some extent. All three of the boys.
But somehow he can't sense him now when they're practically right there.
And
he's
he's
just saying, "I know it's you," but he literally says, "You're hiding from me."
And he mentioned in the previous chapter that we saw a frame perspective.
Yep.
He senses all three boys, but occasionally Rand disappears.
So what do you think is going on then? Why is it right now he can't point a finger right there? He's there. Get him. I sense him. He's right there.
I think you put the previous thought process and explanation together and this current experience, and it's cut and dry. When Rand is in the void, for whatever reason, Fain can't sense him. Or at least the Fain that we see here and now cannot sense him.
I would agree with you. But if it's just a simple human technique, that makes no sense. So I'm going to go the next step and say it's not the void that hides him. It's the presence of Sidene in the void that hides him.
Sidene isn't in the void. It's just he gets closer to being able to touch it. And so maybe proximity to the Sidene does.
So I would suggest that when he's sensing the void, or he's sensing Sidene in the void, Sidene is there with him. He's not using it. He hasn't reached out and grasped the one power.
I have a weird...
But it is there with him.
I have a weird counter argument to this.
Okay.
And it's twofold. One of it jumps to something at the very end of the chapter. So we'll get back to that part later. But the first part being, you mentioned here it highlights even in the void, Rand recognized it. Rand recognized the voice. And Loial seemed to mention that Rand, something was wrong, something was off when he's in the void. I think there's a certain amount of detachment from oneself when you go into that oneness, that void.
Sure.
And while, yes, it's a human technique, it's practically meditation in a very specific sense, I think there is something going on that separates one from self enough that Fain's ability is at least slightly hindered. And where I jump to the end of the chapter, Fain's ability is not what it once was.
Yeah, we will talk about that later. But Fain was made a hound by the Dark One.
Was, not is.
Right. He was coded, in essence, to be able to hone in on the DNA of Rand, Matt, and Perrin. It wasn't their personalities. I mean, I sense that was their physicalness. And Rand physically is still Rand. He's still there.
I partially agree and partially disagree.
Are we getting a little Doctor Strange, and he's going partly into the alpha? Alpha's the wrong word. When you leave your body and you go
astral.
Astral. Thank you. Is he going a little astral plane as he voided?
Well, I have to ask, where did he get this ability from? How did he get it? Did he?
It's just Tam taught it to him.
No, not him. Fain.
Well, he got it from the Dark One.
Exactly. And he didn't go around to the boys, pluck hairs from their head, dilute a potion, and get this magical essence to
What do you think this is, polyjuice? What?
Exactly. He's not getting some scientific approach. He's getting something tied to, I would argue, them. Their puristness. Yes, their body, but also their soul.
Did you say puristness?
Puristness.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought you were making up words.
And so when there's...
Actually, that probably is a made-up word anyways.
When there is any separation between body and soul and personality, I think it hinders it a little. It doesn't necessarily stop it, but it hinders it. And when we get to the end of the chapter, seeing how it's changed changes things.
All right, enough postulating, because we really don't know, but it was fun to theorize.
I
What's
like
going on
theorizing
here?
when
Absolutely.
I'm right.
But so Fain says, "You get them!" The Trollocs, the Dark Friends, they scatter in search, because when Fain says go, they say, "Yes, master." And he says, "Jump," they say, "Off what cliff?" And they're searching, and Rand and Loial, they were almost to the horses. Okay, They had just about got away, but nevertheless, they are discovered, and a Trolloc leaps out of the dark at them, and I love this. Far differently than the last time we saw
the last
Trolloc.
time it was hilarious.
That's right, where Rand practically cuts his own foot off with a sword. This time he's already completely in the void.
Mm-hmm.
And he does already have his sword out. He smoothly takes this Trolloc out. It has no chance.
It's like the Trolloc doesn't even see it coming, and suddenly it's dead.
Trolloc goes down.
And then
As
two
they
more come.
continue, more Trollocs pop up, and Rand quickly sees them fall down. It's just nothing.
It's
can
like
stand.
Rand is just looking and starting to become his one-man army, and is like, I will kill all the Trollocs.
He has become a machine in the void.
And largely it's because this fight that he's doing physically isn't the fight that he's actually experiencing.
Right, he really has this internal fight going on because Sidene is there and it's tempting him.
And with every slice of the sword, he feels like he's winning a little bit more. It's showing, I don't need you. I don't need you, One Power.
They come to a spot where 3 Trollocs show up at the same time and see them and charge, and Rand's like,
Not today.
all right then, and he charges them. And they don't have to stand a chance. Foom, 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 they're down. And Rand is so loving that he can take them out and in that way hold off Sidene that he's tempted at the moment to go, I could just go back and fight the rest of them.
Yeah,
now, not
let's
thinking
do it.
he will defeat the rest of them, thinking there are so many that I can lose myself in the battle and I will die.
But
I won't have to battle Sidene anymore.
I will win
I will
that
have
one.
won. I will have won.
And Loial's like, hey, Rand.
You almost picture him snapping.
Well, he's holding a chest with 2 hands.
Yeah,
He's
I
probably
know.
not snapping.
It's a figurative snapping. But yeah, he gets his tension back out and, come on, dude. Okay, Rand goes with Loial. Loial makes one comment in the book, if you're gonna go mad, can you just hold on a little longer? It's not real convenient right now. And they get back to the horses. Loial ties the chest to his horse while Rand gets on top of the other one. And Rand's like, so what? And Loial's like, yeah, I'm just going to run. Trust me, I can do this. And they take off, galloping away. And Rand's, doubtful Loial can keep up, but Loial is running just as fast as the horse.
Oh, yeah.
And even when they start going up the hills toward, the mountains of Kinslayer's dagger, Loial doesn't go any slower than the horses. He's right with them.
Now, I do want to go back a moment to the comment you said about Loial mentioning him going mad.
Yeah.
Loial doesn't know he can channel at this point. He was not privy to that conversation. He's responding literally to Rand saying, I think I'm going mad.
Yep.
He said it out loud. It's not Loial having some insight to, you're a channeler and you're going to go mad.
Ah, thank you for clearing that up. We would not want to confuse people. Good
We
job.
do kind of know what we're talking about sometimes when we read.
So they make it back to camp, and Selene is thrilled. She sees the chest. You did it. I knew you would make the right choice. And she's like, can I look at it?
No, we need to go right now.
Well, no, he doesn't say that immediately.
But it's true.
Hurin is, his response is, did they follow you? He's like, I don't think so, but you go keep watch. See if they are following. So he's not saying we have to go right away. Go look, watch. I think we got away.
I'm not saying he's saying it. I'm saying they need to.
And then he does say to Selene, yeah, okay, I promised you could look at it, but I don't even know how to open this thing. She's like, well, let me try. Now, the only one we've seen, because there was no obvious opening.
There were 2 people we've seen.
The only one we saw open it, I know there's 2 people. I'll get to that. The only one we saw open it was Moiraine.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it open in the presence of the Amerlin seat.
We clearly know that
So Swan Sanche was able
to
to open it. So the only 2 we know have been able to open it are
very trained Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai, right. But she just kind of moves her hands over it a little bit and then click, and it pops open and she removes the lid.
I don't know, maybe she just knows things. She seems to have read a lot in the Kyrian library.
Again, a noble Kyrianin, they know things.
Not sus at all when you know how to open a box from the Age of Legends.
So we have it revealed, the Horn of Valir in all its glory. Think of the
Great.
glory, Rand.
I don't want to touch it.
And Rand, he's not thinking of glory. He announces, all right, we're taking this back to Shannara. She's like, that's madness. You can't do that.
Well, he's going mad. It's fine.
She doesn't know that. Or does she? But no, she says, no, you don't understand. The Dark Friends, they're not going to give up on this search. To try to get back to Shannara, you'll never make it. They will hound you. They will catch you. Kyrian is far closer. Let's get this to Kyrian where the walls of the city will offer some protection.
Anyways, I need to go there. Wouldn't you like to have a reason to spend a few more days
That's right.
with
She's
me?
like, is being in my presence that odious to you?
Yes, you smell terribly.
He's still thinking she was so hot in my shirt. Ah, okay, yeah, no.
Did they ever
You changed my mind.
Did they ever note that she changed back? Like, I
It does.
assume
It
that
does.
she did,
yeah.
but
Yeah, she
okay.
did. Probably the first thing he noticed when he came back to camp. Oh, she's back in her dress. But yeah, it does. It does.
I always kind of assumed it because she said she was just gonna brush it out, and
And it was brilliantly white again.
like it was when she took it off.
So yes, Rand gives it a little bit of thought. Not very long. He agrees with her. All right, we'll head for Kyrian. And he's got this dagger too now.
Mm-hmm.
So before he closes the chest with the horn, he decides this is where I'll store the dagger also. And Selene's like, seeing the dagger, careful, don't cut yourself. She seems very afraid of this dagger. Like, it's excessively dangerous thing. And he goes on to explain.
She's right.
Yeah, but he hasn't told her why yet. She just seems to know. He says it is from Shadar Logoth. It is a tainted dagger, and it will twist anyone who carries it for long. But I need to keep it because my friend Matt, he has been tainted by it. And the Aes Sedai, they need this dagger to completely heal him from it. She's like, I don't care. Bury it. Throw it away. It's horrible. Get it away from us. He's like, nope, we're keeping it. But I think if I put it in this chest, it should at least provide some protection rather than one of us carrying it. And hopefully it'll shield us from the taint long enough to get it back to the Aes Sedai.
Well, not the taint, but...
Well, the taint of the dagger. Yes, the taint is used different ways, but in the book it said the taint of the dagger. So interesting. Selene then affirms the chest will surely shield them.
She's very confident.
So it brings me to a question I have for you, Zach.
Yep.
Have you noticed, and I'm sure you have,
I have.
Selene is awfully knowledgeable about things. I mean, we've commented it a few times, but here we see her, again, talking about how dangerous the dagger is before Rand even points out where the dagger came from, how truly dangerous it is, and then how she expertly has this ability to open the chest, and that she definitely knows that it will shield the dagger. You know, they'll be safe with it in there. What's going on with her?
I'm going to make a safe and careful examination of this moment by saying what my thoughts as a first-time reader were. When I first read this, I'm going, Selene's sus. First off, anyone who you describe as the most beautiful woman in the world is either sus or you haven't seen very many women. There are beautiful women, but the
You're
most...
doing it just you haven't seen very many women.
The most beautiful means you've believed you've seen them all, and this must be the most beautiful.
Women. Yeah.
However, there is a bit of, wow, you're really knowledgeable. You seem almost more knowledgeable than a lot of the really knowledgeable characters we've seen, be it Loial or Moraine or whoever.
Even the Ogier elders.
And
hundreds of years on them.
If this is the case, why wouldn't Kyrianen have, been consulted on stuff like this before?
If they, yes, are such fonts of wisdom and knowledge.
And I don't believe we know something yet, but I think you're going to realize what I'm considering if someone else would have known just as much as this person.
Moraine?
Mm-hmm.
She's
Kyrianen. I don't think we know that yet.
I think we do. I think that was mentioned all the way back in Eye of the World.
Well, if it's been mentioned, she was Kyrianen kind of nobility. So she theoretically would have access to all the same knowledge. It, on a first read, was suspicious, but I had no idea why.
On my first read, I wasn't picking up on any of this. Which is why I want to highlight here that, yeah, this is a little sus.
I'm just a distrustful reader. If you throw me something and it seems too good to be true, too nice, too pretty, too convenient, I'm looking at it and going, when is the shoe dropping? When is someone getting stabbed?
So, again, for our first-time readers going through this, I want to point out something that I was just completely oblivious to. You should be noting how well-informed the Lady Selene is.
Just always remember this.
It's not just coincidence. I mean, she knows stuff and knows more than it would seem a typical person should know, and it seems really weird how much she knows. So just remember that. Yeah. You will thank us later.
It's an easy alliterative device. Just remember, Selene super sus.
I like it. At this point, then, Selene wants them to go to sleep for the remainder of the night. Let's get what rest we can. But Rand's like, goes back to what you said before.
We gotta go.
We gotta go now. We're way too close to Fain.
Hit the road, Rand. Don't you come back
No more, no more, no more, no more. So let's get as much distance as possible between us and Fain before dawn. Selene.
I hate that we spontaneously harmonized.
We are singers. We haven't talked about our musicalness, but we do sing. And we're not out of pitch or tune either. We're pretty good. Come on, you knew we were going to harmonize there.
No,
Come on.
I mean, I wasn't surprised, but I wasn't expecting it. It kind of broke me.
Celine, when Rand's like, we're going to go, she actually sounds angry. She's like, stubborn. Ugh. But he looks at her, and she actually doesn't look angry.
I mean, she mentions
got a quirk of a smile on her face.
Stubborn men are best once they're
broken.
She doesn't say broken, but that's what she was meaning.
And Rand's left with, I just don't understand women. They're so odd.
I wish Perrin or Matt were here.
Yeah. Now, the chapter ends with 3 last paragraphs, a POV jump over to our favorite nasty character, Fain Friends.
Woo!
He's given up on the chase. He's gathering all the Trollocs back in. He's frustrated. He's angry that the horn, the dagger have been taken from him. And in fact, he's taken that irritation out on the first Trolloc that came back and said, the Althor got away. We can't find him. Because that Trolloc is still twitching on the ground in a pool of his own blood.
He's not dead yet.
He's mostly dead.
He's not going to get better.
Now, Zach, how do you imagine this little scrawny Fain Friends took out this 9-foot beast of a Trolloc?
Is it enough to say magic?
I don't think so. Never do we see Fain so far. No spoilers. Never have we seen Fain use magic.
I'm not saying magic in the sense of magic, but let's take warders for an example. We know they have enhanced abilities through magical means. Whether it be magic that exactly happened or Fain's able to be very vicious in his fighting, in some way, shape, or form, Fain is capable of much more than his body seems to suggest.
In some way.
And I'd like to propose that that can be considered magical.
Okay. I kind of like how the book leaves it mysterious. Mm-hmm. We didn't see how he took care of that Myrddraal before. Mm-hmm. We don't see, we only see the effects, the results.
Being said, I think it will be very, very cool if a brutal depiction of, say, like the Myrddraal is done in the show.
And yet, it could be equally cool to do it the same way.
Yeah.
See this, and I
either
know
way, I'm torn. I really want to see it either way.
They have cast in Amazon's Wheel of Time as Fain Friends. Mm-hmm. He's a scrawny little guy.
He should be.
Yeah, he's perfect. So it would be that great extra mystery to see those same sort of things happening, and you have no idea how he did that. Don't ruin it. Don't try to show it. Yeah. So Fain can sense where
Yes, where Rain.
Where Rand is. Oh, he's a wisdom now. He can sense the Rand. Yeah. Fain can sense Rand again somewhere up there in the hills of Kinslayer's dagger. It's not like he's got an arrow straight to him, but he knows he's up there. Just a general direction. So the sense of Rand that he was given by the Dark One, it implies it's fading a little bit. It's lingering. He still has some ability from the Dark One, but it's not as strong as it had been before. What's going on? Why do you think it's fading?
A really easy explanation.
Okay.
And all I have to do is look to my right, where my drink is sitting.
Yes.
Because it was alcohol. Yes. Distilled alcohol, made to be stronger, specific. And I put a nice, good ice cube in it.
Yes.
And it's been watering it down.
Mm-hmm.
Something else was added, which has made that distilling not
Something
quite
that was added
acute.
To Fain.
Exactly. Fain's my drink.
He was drinking Fain?
He was distilled down.
Now I'm disturbed.
It's fine. But no, he was distilled down into the Dark One's hound, but something has been added that is making that distillation a little different. Maybe not weaker,
not
but
as pure anymore.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's not the same.
I like it.
Drink.
Yeah. Additionally, Fain chooses not to even want to focus on his hound ability anymore. He's moved on from what he once was. And he's good with that.
Oh, yeah.
He even says out loud, I am a dog no longer.
We love us some autonomy.
And you will pay for what was done to me, Althor. The world will pay! Great villain line. But it sounds to me quite clear that Fain is no longer working for the Dark One.
Oh, yeah.
Fain is working for himself. He's controlling Dark Friends, Trollocs, but they're afraid of him. And again, even Rand is thinking of it as Fain and his Dark Friends.
And
not the Dark One's Dark Friends.
I think we really have to wonder here, whether it's your first read or reread even, what is Fain becoming that he's able to just not follow the Dark One anymore?
So this is another gift we're hoping to give to first-time readers, to elevate recognition that Fain, there's something going on here. My first read-through, I did not catch as greatly the significance of Pat and Fain as I should have.
I haven't done a full second read-through, and yet I sit here and go, Fain is one of my favorite characters. He's a little underrated at times, but I really love him. And some of it is because we don't know what's going on so often.
Well, that's the end of the chapter. And that's where we'll close our briefer episode that still on the recording hit 55 minutes.
That's fine. We're under an hour.
That's a great episode, though. And, I'll edit it down to 52 minutes.
Woo!
But, of course, we do want to do our normal, typical wrap-up here.
Yes.
To encourage you to join our grand number of people who have been subscribing.
It's really surprising and yet fantastic to see.
It's fun for us and a little affirming. We're still just having a good time talking about fantasy literature we enjoy, and more people are finding it and also enjoying our conversations. So if you're one of those, be sure to subscribe so you're not missing out. And we'd love more ratings and reviews. No new ones this past week. I keep looking for them, but
truthfully,
again,
no matter what platform you're using, we want to hear from you.
Yeah, I probably should be checking a few of the other platforms because people do rate in other areas where they listen. There might be ratings out there going, these guys are awesome, or these guys really suck, and I've missed them completely, so I should look.
So whatever the platform, or if you don't feel comfortable putting it out there into the world, just talk to us directly.
Absolutely. Some people have done that. Write to us at FantasyForTheAges@gmail.com. Or
our social medias, be it Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, where you can find all of my dad's drink recipes.
Yes, there's gold there, people. Gold.
And if you want to join in on the conversation, come chat with us on Discord.
Golden quickie. But yeah, Discord is a great place to come, and there's all sorts of channels on our Discord server, and if you're like me and you hear Discord, what the heck? I got onto Discord because of listening to a podcast that said we have a Discord server. So try out the link that's in our episode here and become one of the people in our Discord community where you can just talk about fantasy fiction.
And if you enjoy what we do and feel like supporting us, albeit in some small financial way, we have a Patreon page. You can come check it out, and there are some benefits, including coming and chatting with us live as we record, or some Patreon-only content that we are going to be releasing.
That's right. Believe it or not, right after this episode, we're recording our first Patreon-only episode. So if you're hearing this, the day it dropped, it's not there yet, but it will be there shortly.
If you're hearing this the day it dropped, it'll be there in like 2 days. Ish.
Wow, the pressure. Oh my goodness.
I said ish.
Ish. Oh, that eases everything. But if you're listening to this later, there's probably more than one Patreon-only episode there. Just some odds and ends of things that we want to share with the people who are taking that extra step to support us. Any funds sent our way allow us to help cover our equipment, cover our hosting fees, which add up year after year. So we appreciate the support. Thank you. Got anything else to add today, Zach?
I've got nothing.
Then we'll leave it there, and we'll talk to you next time.